I tripped. I fell really hard, but I didn't become the fall. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to learn the sacred difference between failing and being a failure. One is a bruise. It's just a temporary mark. The other is a brand forged by shame and mistaken identity. And too many of us, myself included, have worn that brand like it was our name. Last week, a storm came through. Not the kind that passes quickly, but the slow, heavy kind. The kind that brews in your gut and clouds your mind. Confusion, hurt, shame, they all came knocking. And the old backseat drivers that I've talked about so often in my brain, the ones that think that they're still in charge, they grabbed the wheel. Those voices, those ancient, persistent beliefs, they didn't just whisper, they roared. And I listened. The trigger, a conversation with a friend I care about deeply. A curveball that hit me in a soft spot I didn't know was exposed. It wasn't his fault, really. It was just what the moment stirred up in me. Old wounds dressed in present-day clothes. Old scripts dusted off and performed again. But something was different this time. I caught the spiral mid-spin. I reached for the tools that I've been stockpiling over all these years, like a traveler who finally knows storms will come. I breathed. I sat still. I meditated. I tried to ground myself, but my footing, it still felt loose. So I did the next best thing. I called a friend. I let myself be heard, and that simple act, letting someone in, was like cracking a window in a smoke-filled room. It didn't fix everything, trust me, but it let the air in. And then came the rescue that I didn't expect. Creativity. Not the polished public kind, the sacred private kind. I grabbed this, my camera, almost instinctively, and I took a walk. I shot images of ordinary things, a crooked street sign, shadows on a wall, a withered flower still standing tall. That rhymed. And then I wrote. I sat with those photos and I let them speak to me. Each frame was a mirror, each caption a confession. It wasn't just journaling. It was stitching myself back together, one image and one word at a time. That act, creating, it regulated me more than anything else. It didn't silence the voices completely, but it gave me a louder one, my own. And that was enough to reroute the whole day. Here's what I've learned. Turbulence is inevitable, but wreckage doesn't have to be. We won't always dodge the spiral, but we can shorten its spin. What once cost me days now costs me minutes. And sometimes that is the victory. And there's one more thing. I now have you, this growing tribe of fellow journeymen. You are my mirror, my muse, my reminder that I'm not the only one fumbling forward. Your stories, they've shown up in my memory when mine felt like it was slipping. And in a strange and beautiful way, your courage helped me recover mine. So no, I'm not a failure. I'm an artist in the storm, learning how to fall, how to reach out, and how to create my way back to the light. So let's start by talking about the lie. If I fall, I have failed. We're conditioned to believe that failure defines us. I really believe that the moment that we slip, we've lost our worth. But falling isn't failure. It's human. The real tragedy isn't the stumble. It's the silence that we keep afterward. The way we hide, internalize, and collapse inward. Creativity reminds us You can fall and still rise with something beautiful in your hands. Now let's talk about how the storm will come. There are days when clarity flees, when voices from your past, they crawl into the present. Days when your inner critic becomes a megaphone. When the spiral of shame, the spiral of doubt and fear gains momentum. That's not a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that you're alive. The storm isn't the end, it's the weather. What matters is how we travel through it. Now let's talk about the pivot, reaching for your tools. Healing rarely starts with inspiration. I think it starts with choice. For me, I think it was grabbing my camera. It was walking into the light, even when I didn't feel it. For you, it might be writing without editing, or scribbling instead of planning, or calling a friend when your voice shakes. The act of creating, even in the mess, is an act of defiance, a declaration, I'm not the storm. And now let's talk about the power of private creativity. We often equate creativity with performance, with audience, with polish, but some of the most healing art is made in secret, in a room with one light on, with no expectation except expression. That's where regulation happens. That's where ownership returns. That's where you stitch yourself back together, one brushstroke, one photo, one word at a time. And now let's talk about how the victory is shortening the spiral. You won't always avoid the fall, but you can shorten its hold on you. What once stole your days can now take only minutes. And that's progress. Don't underestimate the quiet triumph of recovery. You are not a failure. You're not the spiral. You're not the storm. You're a creator learning how to walk through thunder with a pen in your pocket and a camera in your hand. So keep going. Create through the noise. And when you can't hear your own voice, borrow mine. You are not the fall. You are the artist rising in its aftermath. Now go. Take the next honest step back toward your light. The morning that I took this photo, I wasn't just wandering. I was seeking. I needed a kind of quiet that goes deeper than silence, a healing quiet, one that doesn't just hush the noise around you, but reaches inside and gently calms everything within. So I went to the redwoods. I don't even know if I chose them or if they somehow called me in. The moment that I stepped beneath their canopy, it felt like entering a cathedral, one made of bark and breath and time. The air was thick with fog, but soft, like it was careful not to disturb anything. Even the light felt sacred. I didn't need to move fast. I didn't need to be anything but present. The stillness wrapped around me like a knowing. These trees have stood for centuries. They've weathered storms. They've seen generations come and go. And in their quiet strength, I found a reflection of what I needed to remember, that it's okay to be still, to heal slowly. This photo, that moment, it stays with me, not because anything grand happened, but because it didn't have to. The redwoods didn't offer advice or even clarity. They didn't fix anything. They just were. And in their presence, I was allowed to just be too. And in that stillness, something began to settle inside me. Not solved, not erased, just softened. And in that softness, I found the beginnings of something like healing.